Hello there, Adam here from Avon Dog Services. Today we're going to be looking at food garden or kind of resource garden, but we're going to use food as an example today. We've done a few sessions recently over the last few weeks regarding this with clients, and it seems there's a kind of running theme as to why there are certain conflicts arising. The most recent one that we worked with had a little bit of information given, and I really feel for the owners because they did everything to the letter. They did everything that they were asked to do, but sadly the information that they were given from whatever source it was just wasn't quite correct. So the idea was that they have to make sure that they get the food back from the dog every single time. So when they put the food down for the dog to eat, they stand with them and then pick the food up halfway through and then put it back down and pick it up and put it back down. And that will prove that I'm not quite sure what it was intended. I think it was probably to ensure that the dog understood that the owner was in charge. And I just want to really put you in the dog's shoes. I want us to look at this video from a dog's perspective, and then help you to try and make your own mind up on what you think is the best route to then take. So let's pretend that this here, where we are now, is a restaurant. We've just ordered. We're really eager to eat. We're really eager to sit down and have some food. You've ordered, you've waited, and the waiter comes along and he delivers your food. So he puts it down and you start to eat. You've got everything you need, you start to eat. So as you start to eat, within 15 or 20 seconds, the waiter comes in and he takes the food and he just stands there. And he stands and holds that food while you're sat at the table. And now you're looking at this guy. He hasn't said anything, he hasn't done anything, he's just came along and picked up the food. And he waits for maybe 5 or 10 seconds. And then he puts it back down again. And now I think that's quite weird, but we'll let it go. I'll keep eating. So I then carry on and I keep eating from there. And then another 15 seconds down the line, he comes in and he picks the plate up and he just stands there with it. Now, at this point, I'm now starting to get a little bit agitated because he hasn't said anything. He hasn't told us what he's doing it for. He hasn't said why he's doing it. He just takes the food away. And then he puts it back down again. And at this point, I'm starting to get a little bit uneasy. Now, he comes along again a third time, 15, 20 seconds later. And at this point, we've already built up a history of what happens. Now, I don't want this guy to come back to me here because I know he's going to take that food away. So what I start to do is I protect it. And I'd say something to him. I'd say, you're not going to pick this food up. But he still carries on and he still takes the food. Now, at this point, I'm really annoyed. All I want to do is sit and eat the food that I've been given by that person. So if he's already given me that food, why should he want to take it away again? So now I get really annoyed and I protect it more and more. And the closer he comes, the more I protect it because I don't want him to take it away. But what also starts to happen is anytime he's in the near vicinity, I just assume now that he's going to try and take my food. So I become instantly agitated and instantly protective over something that he has already given me. So you start to get and it doesn't matter how many times he does this, he isn't going to make me think anything different other than the fact that him coming closer to this plate of food means I'm going to be left without. So instantly, I don't want to see this guy. I don't want him to come anywhere near me or my food or my table. And so I start to might yell at him from a further distance and say, actually, no, you're not coming over here. And that conflict will only ever continue if that behaviour keeps happening from both you and the dog. So let's scrap this whole part of trying to pick the food up and take it away, and let's look at it from a different angle altogether. So we'll reset, start from scratch. You've walked into the restaurant, you now sit down, and the guy brings a plate of food over, and he puts it down, and you think, oh, okay, slightly smaller meal than what I was expecting, but that's fine, it might taste really nice. So start to eat. And then the guy comes over again 15 or 20 seconds later. But instead of trying to take my food away, he actually provides a second piece. So he now puts something extra down on my plate. And now I think, oh, that's really kind of him. That's nice. We'll carry on. And then 10 or 15 seconds down the line, he comes over and he puts something else down. So we get a little bit of ice cream on top. And so instantly, my initial thought process now, my initial reaction to seeing that guy is that he brings me something good. So whenever I see him in that room, I'm going to sit back and say, okay, come on, what are you going to put down? What are you next going to put down for me to eat? Because you keep providing me with something good. And by doing that, I'm already sitting back from my food. I'm already giving a bit of distance because I'm expecting something else to come in. So there's no conflict there. I'm not trying to protect that now. I'm trying to say, okay, that's nice. Please bring something else because you've been doing it recently. And that's a reward history. That teaches the dog that having something or having you around presents good food. So instead of trying to take the food away, instead of trying to show the dog who's boss and all that, and tell the dog I'm going to take the food away, why don't you actually interact with the dog? Put half of their food down and then just stand back, stand at a distance that the dog's comfortable with, and just start to throw a couple of pieces of food for the dog. And then wait another 10 or 15 seconds, and you might have treats that you add instead of just extra food. And you might have little bits of chicken, or you might have little bits of ham, or something that the dog really, really likes. And so they have their food, they eat their food, but also you're providing extra stuff. Because you're present, good stuff happens, good things happen. And so as long as you do it at a distance that the dog's comfortable with. In the early stages, you don't want to stand next to the dog and do it because they might become a little bit uncomfortable. So stand back, stand and do something a little bit further out at distance. But get the dogs to understand that there is something profitable in you being around when they're eating as well. Give it a little try, see how you get on. I'd love to hear any comments or any questions you've got. This is just one way of dealing with this issue. There are many different issues, and again, we love feedback, whether it's constructive criticism or whether it's a good bit of praise, and you think that it's worked really well, and you got a good bit of information from the video. But the key bit with the criticism is that it's constructive. If you don't think it works, just explain why you don't think it works, and we can always have a chat about it. Like we keep saying in each video, the only way we're going to move forward in dog training is if we all talk about it and we all share ideas, and we all start to look at the bigger picture of trying to bond and trying to create that nice, strong relationship between you and the dog. So feel free to like, feel free to comment, feel free to share, and yeah, give it a try, and thanks for watching.